It starts quietly. No sirens, no breaking news alerts, just a few headlines whispering about another startup promising fully autonomous agents. Then, without warning, thousands of jobs disappear. Not over years, overnight. Customer service lines go dark. Financial analysts vanish from trading floors. Copywriters get locked out of their systems. In their place, artificial general intelligence, AI. A learning engine that doesn't just automate tasks, it replaces cognition itself. And just like that, the world's economic equation mutates. This isn't automation as we know it. This is replacement. AGI doesn't need lunch breaks, health benefits, or weekends. It learns at light speed and retrains in seconds. With a single update, it can outperform entire human departments. The transformation is invisible until it's already irreversible. Here's the part almost no one is talking about. The first wave won't strike the factory floor. It'll gut the middle, the knowledge class. Writers, coders, sales teams, quietly but ruthlessly. Because the jobs we thought safe due to intellect aren't immune, they're first in line. Welcome to Phase 0 of an economic extinction event. The question isn't if AGI will replace UN, and who goes first. What follows could fracture the very idea of what it means to earn a living. Let's peel back the first layer of impact. The industries most vulnerable aren't those dependent on physical labor. No, those jobs require real-world dexterity AGI hasn't mastered. Instead, it's the knowledge-based sectors, where data flows digitally and output is intellectual. These are the low-hanging fruit for artificial general intelligence. Take customer service. AI has already dominated simple chatbot interactions, but AGI can escalate a support query, negotiate refunds, upsell, or handle irate customers with near-human empathy and infinite patience. In financial services, junior analysts who once spent days modeling projections replaced by real-time forecasts from AGIs trained on decades of market behavior. In legal professions, paralegals and even junior associates face obsolescence. AGI can review legal contracts, predict litigation risks, and generate entire case strategies. Accounting, same story. Journalism, data-driven reports, sports recaps, and even investigative stories can now be auto-generated with minimal human input. And coding? GitHub's Copilot was just the prototype. Now AGIs can not only write entire applications from scratch, but fix bugs faster than any junior developer. In a flipped irony, the very people who built the digital revolution may be the first to lose their seats. The real danger isn't what you think. It's not brute force. It's precision-targeted obsolescence through hyper-efficiency. And we're not ready. Still skeptical? Let's zoom in on case studies already playing out. A US marketing agency recently let go 80% of its copywriting team. Why? An AGI tool they piloted could write compelling ad copy in minutes, optimized for SEO, buyer psychology, and sentiment. A single AGI instance replaced dozens of staff. In Japan, a legal firm reduced turnaround time on corporate contracts by 70% using a generative language model that researched statutes, highlighted risk clauses, and even suggested revisions immediately and in every jurisdiction. Their paralegals gone. Back in Silicon Valley, a large SaaS company beta-tested an AGI-assisted developer system. The result? Productivity jumped 300%. 3 engineers now do the work of 20. Half the dev team was let go within 2 quarters. This isn't theoretical, it's tangible, and happening faster than any labor displacement in modern history. Pause here for a heavy truth. White-collar workers used to believe they were untouchable. That AI would strike assembly lines, not desks. But the AGI wave is tumbling the pyramid from the top down, skipping the physical world and decapitating the digital minds. And this is where the story takes a darker turn. Because after the first wave comes the second, where emotional intelligence and creativity, once seen as safe, come under siege. Here's the battlefield no one prepared for. Creativity, once considered humanity's last fortress. But AGI is not bound by formulas alone. With neural networks trained on centuries of literature, film, and music, it's now producing original content indistinguishable from human creations. Hollywood screenwriters, facing down code that drafts entire plots, character arcs, dialogue, even emotional beats, adaptable to genre, region, and streaming patterns. Music producers watch as AGI systems compose tracks that climb Billboard charts. Digital paintings generated in minutes rival gallery-worthy originals. The publishing world, already under siege. Self-publishing platforms now see thousands of books listed monthly, many AI-authored. Some readers can't tell the difference. Others openly prefer the pacing and plot structure from machine-generated novels. Creativity is no longer a moat. It's just code with flair. Even the spiritual realms aren't immune. Emulate religious sermons, philosophical debates, or therapy sessions with uncanny nuance. Simulated empathy isn't empathy, but it performs well enough to place hate, console, or inspire. Because hidden inside this scenario is something even worse. If emotional labor and art can be replicated as data flows, then what remains as distinctly human might start to vanish, not just from jobs, but from relevance. We're staring into a void shaped like our own replaced identity. Let's talk about the survivors. The professions standing on firmer ground for now. The front line begins in the dirt, not the cloud. Skilled trades may endure. Plumbers, electricians, mechanics, these require spatial awareness, tactile skill, and environment reading. AGI still struggles with. A burst pipe doesn't pause for a reboot. Rooftop solar installs, underground cabling, or on-site inspections all demand a blend of intuition and adaptation in uncontrolled settings. Next comes mental presence. Therapists, social workers, teachers, humans trust emotional attunement. While AGI might simulate empathy, we still crave authentic connection, especially in vulnerable moments. For now, we anchor deep trust in human contact. Emergency responders, caregivers, field nurses, disaster workers. These roles aren't just physical, they're reactive, compassionate, immediate. They require something that doesn't translate to code, moral intuition. Deciding when to break protocol to save a life isn't logic, it's judgment. And finally, leadership. True leadership, not middle management. Vision setting, conflict resolution, geopolitical navigation. Areas where consequence unfolds across unpredictable dynamics and culture. AGI can advise but not embody stakes, fear, or courage. Not yet. Still, these footholds are thinning ice, because adaptation is a shark. Keep swimming or die. Even these safe zones demand upskilling, hybrid thinking, and relentless learning. Standing still, that's replacement by default. What separates survivors from casualties won't just be their job type, it'll be their capacity to pivot. Lifelong employment is dead, so is decade-long mastery. In the AGI era, the new metric is agility, how fast you can learn, retool, and reinvent. Those who integrate with AGI, using it as a partner, not a replacement, gain leverage. A single educator, armed with AGI-driven personalization engines, can reach hundreds with tailored lessons. A therapist could diagnose patterns days before symptoms surface. A journalist could validate leads across 1,000 global sources in minutes. Hybrids will thrive. Artists with prompt engineering skills, coders with product strategy chops, blue-collar workers trained in sensor systems or AI-assisted diagnostics. Value will live in fusion, not function. Here's the part almost no one is talking about. The education system isn't teaching any of this. Universities lag, boot camps chase trend lines, and HR departments still requesting resumes tuned for a world already gone. Adapting means self-retraining, forming peer-led knowledge pods, building resilience into income streams. Think less about job titles, more about capabilities, storytelling, strategic querying, systems prompting, emotional insight. We're not in an economy anymore. We're in an evolutionary contest. Fast movers rewire. The rest become relics. The age of static careers is over. The age of dynamic identity begins. So what happens to the rest? The ones who can't pivot or won't? Entire sectors face collapse. Call centers across Southeast Asia, potentially obsolete. White-collar back offices in the US, Canada, Europe, hollowed out. Displacement tears through all layers of society. We will see localized recessions as industries dry up without warning. Entire towns dependent on a single profession devastated. A jobless recovery may become normal. Soaring corporate profits with plummeting labor participation. Governments will scramble to implement rapid reskilling programs, digital basic income, or public service expansions, but bureaucracy doesn't move as fast as AGI. And this is where the story takes a darker turn: the psychological fallout. Identity and dignity are tethered to work. What happens when millions lose not just income, but purpose? Mental health crises, political unrest, radical movements, not just left or right, but nihilist. As AGI captures productive value, society must decide who deserves to share in it: owners of the AGI systems or everyone displaced by their efficiency. There's no playbook here, no precedent, The Industrial Revolution took decades. AGI systems phase out industries in months. This isn't a wave, it's a flash flood, and it cuts across borders, bias, and salary bands. We're not ready, but we still have a choice. Prepare broadly or fracture completely. We now face a pivotal crossroad. Governments, institutions, and individuals, all caught between acceleration and collapse. The wrong move or no move at all will carry catastrophic weight. Public policy must shift faster. Tax systems designed around labor will need rethinking. Do we tax AGI output? Do we institute universal basic income, or risk riots from an unemployed majority? Education must pivot from rote learning to lifelong adaptability. Micro-credentialing, accelerated apprenticeships, peer-driven upskilling networks. The traditional degree is already a relic. On a personal level, adaptation becomes not just a career choice, but a survival skill. Financial buffers matter less than strategic agility. Diversify skill sets. Build personal networks across industries. Learn to interrogate AI. Use its speed as your amplifier, not your replacement. The future will not reward stagnation. It will reward those who blend. If you're an accountant, learn storytelling. If you're a nurse, study robotics. If you're a teacher, master AGI classroom tooling. The hybrid human is the resilient human. Because hidden inside this scenario is something even worse. If we wait for permission, the transition will make choices for us. And those choices won't be kind. The question isn't whether AGI takes jobs, it's whether we evolve fast enough to stay valuable alongside it or disappear beneath its shadow. This is the moment of urgency, not panic, but clarity. AGI isn't coming, it's here. And it's not a tool, it's a transformation engine. It doesn't just change how we work, it rewrites who works, why, and for what reward. Jobs will die, that's a certainty. But society doesn't have to die with them. We can rebuild meaning, value, and contribution if we move now. That means governments funding transition programs before the crisis, not after. It means employers rethinking roles to augment humans, not eliminate them. It means you, right now, choosing to learn the tools, not fear them. And above all, never assume safety in tradition. The teacher who prompts AGI to design learning labs? Safe. The teacher who clings to lecture style from the 1990s? Not. There's no single playbook, but here's a guiding rule. Integrate or retreat. Merge with the moment or become irrelevant. The factory jobs were the first warning. Now the office jobs face extinction. Tomorrow, even artists won't be safe. The future will blindside the unprepared. You cannot afford to be one of them. Start learning the systems. Connect to communities evolving with the threat. Build the version of you who can pivot before you're forced to. Because obsolescence, now more than ever, is a choice.